Old Testament reading today comes from Psalm 31. We're going to read verses 1 through 5, and then verses 15 through 16. It can be found in your Pew Bible on page 505 or on page 478. In you, O Lord, I seek refuge. Do not let me ever be put to shame. In your righteousness, deliver me. Incline your ear to me. Rescue me speedily. Be a rock of refuge for me, a strong fortress to save me. You are indeed my rock and my fortress. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Take me out of the net that is hidden for me, for you are my refuge. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Lord, faithful God. My times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and persecutors. Let your face shine upon your servant and save me in your steadfast love.
The next reading comes from John's Gospel, chapter 14, verses 1 through 14. Do not let your hearts be troubled, but believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again. I will take you to myself, so that where I am, there you may also be. And you know the way to the place where I am going. But Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way? But Jesus said to him, I am the way and the truth and the life. And no one comes to the Father except through me. If you know me, you will know my Father also. From now on you do know him and have seen him. But Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father, and we will be satisfied. But Jesus said to him, have I been with you all this time, Philip, and you still do not know me? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. Now how can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I say to you I do not speak on my own, but the Father who dwells in me does his works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. But if you do not, then believe me because of the works themselves. Very truly, I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do, and in fact will do greater works than these, because I am going to the Father. I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If in my name you ask me for anything, I will do it. For this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So sometimes it's nice to know that no matter what or where one might go, there's at least some place for you. And this could take the form of a room at a friend's house, your vacant bed at your parents' house from when you left their place years ago, or even those memories you had as a young child, staying over at Grandma or Grandpa's place for the weekend. Wherever it is, or whoever it was with, and knowing there is a place for you brings comfort and grants a peace of mind and a feeling of safety and security. There's something to be said about having a physical space set aside for you and available to you, no matter what may transpire in your life or what your current circumstances may in fact be. Similarly, when you begin a brand new job or join a new team, or assigned to someplace new or different in our life, we essentially, in as many words, have to learn our place. There's a certain period of time where we need to understand that those that have been in whatever group or community or location we now find ourselves a part of, we have to figure out how they function and what exactly they do, how they do it, why they do it, and now how do we belong, or how does our piece fit into that new puzzle. And so in addition to those previously mentioned transitions, This sort of occurrence and learning process also takes place anytime we join a small group or participate in any new extracurricular activity, or meet a new group of people, or tend to join a new church, as many others have done recently in the past few years here at TPC. This even transpired when I began my ministry here at Tuskawilla Presbyterian Church. I had to learn how I fit, how those relationship dynamics work, what makes people tick, and what the culture is here at TPC. So frankly speaking, it's something that we will inevitably encounter in life and must learn to navigate and proceed with in future occurrences and all happenings in which we encounter these new beginnings and learning our places. You see, what's funny too is, in addition to a large setting where one can learn their place, it can also trickle down to smaller subsets, especially in a church. You see, we have the church as a whole, made up of its members, its leadership, and its staff. And then from there, we have a governing body called the session, which is named elders who make business decisions and head decisions for the church. Then all of those elders chair a committee. So within those committees, you have about 2 to 10 people serving on these committees and doing work for that subset committee. Beyond that, we have, of course, the much-loved general population and membership of the church, where once again anyone can volunteer to participate in leading Sunday school, leading a Bible study, helping out with worship, mission work, or even the preschool ministry here. But even from those groups, we have conglomerations themselves that have relational and leadership and follower dynamics, all which lead to, you guessed it, a very complex web of many different situations and scenarios where one may have to learn their place. But in a nice, Christian, hospitable, loving way, right? We don't want to do it shamefully or scorn someone or put someone out to pasture. So it's all nice. At least that's the hope. And so there are a couple of communities in the world that I feel have this "where's my place" question down pat. And those would be in the military and the Scouts. You see, in both of these, there are ranks and classifications and badges and a very clear set defined hierarchy. And now these rankings and these categories reflect one's current place, meaning they show where one currently stands in that branch or that activity or that group, and it doesn't indicate their future position or rank. It merely shows and reflects where they currently are in life. So this, in fact, may be contrary to the future place we know where all of us will be when it comes to Christianity and just life in general. That being said, knowing one's place doesn't always result in a positive or joyful experience. But sometimes it can be downright intimidating or frightening and maybe even a little excruciating. There have been a few moments in my own life where I've had a distinct situation in which I've had to learn my place. Of course, at the time it wasn't necessarily easy or the most thrilling experience of all. But it did teach me to approach future and similar occurrences with caution and a general form of understanding and witnessing and standing back before I kind of fully dive in. And so this particular instance began when I was trying out for the high school soccer team during my freshman year at West Orange in West Orange County. You want to talk about an intimidating experience. I think this was the first time in my life where I genuinely felt outclassed. And it wasn't as if I belonged or would ever find a place among the team. I just wasn't sure it was fit for me. And nevertheless, with enough confidence and perseverance, I mustered up the courage to continue trying out and eventually paid my dues to belong to the team. But it was intimidating. One little skinny high school freshman among 150 other kids with sophomores, juniors, and seniors all trying to make about 40 spots on this high school junior varsity and varsity team. And so, of course, the upperclassmen treated me like a second-class citizen, which I suppose was normal, but no, don't worry, there's no hazing or nothing extreme of that nature. It's just kind of fun ribbing every once in a while. But it did take me a while to learn my place, meaning know knowing who I could ask a question to, and what stuff I could say, and what people I could direct or coach or help out on the team. But I'll never forget the first game. It was an open invitational tournament. Basically a friendly match between us at West Orange High School and our rivals at Edgewater in downtown Orlando. So this was my first official match against another school. And this wasn't a junior varsity game. This was a varsity versus varsity, meaning the best of the best from each school, which also meant more seniors and juniors and freshmen making appearances. A long story short, the game was faster, bigger, and more intimidating than I had been expecting, and much different than what I was used to previously. I think because I was a freshman, they just wanted to throw me out there and see how I could do, and see if I could swim or just sink right to the bottom. And boy, did I learn my place rather quickly. I ended up on the junior varsity squad with more freshmen and sophomores. I just learned my place. Of course, my pride and my ego were, needless to say, a little bit bruised, but it was exactly where I was supposed to be, especially at that time. You see, sometimes we might get that rut in life and find ourselves in a place asking, where do I belong? What am I doing? Or what exactly is my place in this family, or this job, this community, or this church? How do I fit? And what can I contribute, and what exactly can I bring to the table? You see, these are many questions that others ask at least one point in their life. And maybe some people even ask this question of themselves on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis. And maybe we personally feel like we're that freshman, wrongly assigned to the varsity team when we should be on the junior varsity team. We might feel misplaced. We're kind of like a fish out of water. You see, eventually I did make it up to varsity when I was ready. And once I learned more and grew bigger and progressed enough as an individual. You see, every one of us here is capable of that very same feat. So with Mother's Day, I realize that there are some women out there in the world, and maybe even in this church family, that are not physically able to have children, or decided against it for one reason or another. But that does not mean that one can still not be a mother. You see, learning the impact of that and how one can still fulfill that role of motherhood is a quintessential example of one finding their place. You see, some qualities of motherhood range from, but are certainly not limited to, don't worry moms, I'm not putting limits on what you do, but here's a small sampling list. See, anyone who wants to be a mother or is a mother can teach. They're compassionate. They're helping, and nurturing, guiding, mentoring, loving, embracing, and so on. You see, one other area that has been challenging for me is my place as a father, and learning how to be that instead of just a husband now, which took me long enough for that one to begin with. And now I have to learn where my place is as a dad. I'm still working on it, and slowly learning my own place and how to grow into that. And we are all capable of that very same trait. You see, there are two things that I find most reassuring about today's reading from John's Gospel. One is, to me, the strong and clear message that no matter who we are, or what we do, where we come from, where we might be going, or what gifts we might have, or talents, or what our personalities might be, that God has a place for us. There's a place for us here and now on this massive, whirling planet of ours, and there's a place for us in the future, as Christ reassures us and says himself, in his Father's house. You see, yes, God will in fact always find a place for us. And the second of those reassurances is found in the very first verse of this 14th chapter from John. Christ says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me." John speaks of believing almost exclusively. and not as something to which one assents inwardly, but as an outward and active commitment to a person, and that person being Jesus Christ. The words of Luther in the large catechism of our Book of Confessions in the Presbyterian Church come immediately to mind. You see, in response to the first commandment, Luther asks what it means to have a God, and answers that God is what you hang your hearts upon. See, the heart that is troubled is a heart not hung upon God, but hung rather in all the things the world peddles to soothe a troubled heart. Jesus tells the disciples in their time of deep uncertainty, hang your hearts on God, and hang your hearts on me. You see, one of the driving forces and main points of motivation, feelings of fulfillment and senses of worth, come from one's affirmation that they have a place. In the world, that place can be strongly correlated to having a purpose, a strong identity, and a sense of oneself, and a firm feeling and direction that we, in fact, have a place. In heaven, it can mean a physical place for us to reside. And on earth, it can be a physical, a mental, emotional, a spiritual place in which we live. And so if we go through life without a sense of purpose, or a genuine identity, and for the most part, it feels as if we're simply treading water. And one can only tread water for so long. And for me, it's about 2 minutes. So don't hang your hat on me treading water for you too much. But wouldn't it be great and wonderful to have and add meaning to these motions that we go through every day? Wouldn't it be fantastic to know that the actions you take, and the words you speak, and the thoughts that you think and communicate to other people all profoundly impact the life of someone else? And what if I were to tell you that every day that you were noticed by God, and in a good way, and not a judgmental, condescending way, but that alone could be our purpose and our place as we live and serve this wonderful world that God has created for us? You see, everything we do in life can be used for good and to fulfill God's purposes. And that can and should be probably our only place on this planet. No matter what group, what family, what church, or what community we may join, we can do God's work. And that should be our place. But at the end of it all, and at the end of the day, should we ever get to a point where our hearts truly might be troubled, we must ask ourselves, where can I hang my heart? And who can I trust? And what can I truly do? And where can I really go to find this peace, this person, this purpose, this protection, and this promise? Well, as John abruptly reminds us, Christ tells us to believe in God and to also believe in Him. And that alone should let us know that our place lies with God and Jesus Christ. And so when we're lonely, or we're troubled, or we're afraid, intimidated, or just scared, or if we feel as if we don't have a place for ourselves in this world, we can rest assured that one day we will find our place. And no matter what transpires on this planet, during this life and along this journey that we are now embarking upon, we can know that one day, eventually, we will in fact enter that blissful paradise. We will have a place. And God will have the table set, our beds made, and a hot cup of tea ready for us in the afternoon. Amen.